Welcome to Lizards Inc., a show where two lizard people learn more about human society as mystery surrounds their own. Today's topic, tinfoil. Last time, Nalon and Xela barely survived a brutal fight with two agents who had been hunting them. Nalon, finally willing to answer more questions, takes Xela to the surface world to escape their pursuers.
It's so blue. Look, they have their own little moss clumps on the ceilings, but they're white instead of green. Oh, this is great.
Xela smiles and turns his head to look at his friend. His expression turns into one of confusion and disgust as he sees Nalon on his hands and knees eating some grass.
I can't turn my back to you for a second without you being a freak, can I?
Those white things aren't moss, though. Those are clouds. You know, the things we use with chemtrails to spread our chemicals through the air. We've already covered that topic before. I honestly don't know how you forgot about that.
Nalon laid on his own back as Xela still stared at him, horrified. Nalon feels his eyes grow heavy, the exhaustion of the day's events finally beginning to catch up with him. Both lizards stare at the sky as they drift off to sleep, unaware of a third presence nearby. Nalon scrunched his face as he felt warm breath hit him. His nostrils flared as a dreadful scent filled his nose. His eyes shot open, only to be confronted by the face of a horrid creature. Its soft, wrinkly skin was pasty white. Its hair is a silverish gray. Its eyes had circular pupils. Its teeth are slightly stained yellow. Nalon shot upward. He gripped onto the creature and swung onto the back of the creature's body. His left arm gripped the creature's head. A blade sprung from his right arm, and he aimed his weapon at the creature. Suddenly, a dull scale knocked Nalon off the creature's back and onto the ground. He looked up to see Xela sitting up, hand extended. He noticed it had become evening. The orange sky now meets the rolling green fields on the horizon.
Why am I always getting beat up in these situations?
Probably because you're a walking punchline. Also, you still have a lot of hits to take before you can catch up to moi. You know, me catching a humongous hunk of body after all.
I was tossed around like a volleyball.
Nalon sat up and stared at the creature with a puzzled look.
Is that thing okay?
I think that thing is what you would call a human.
I thought they were hairier.
That's their ancestors. Did you not learn anything in human biology class? Knowing you now, I thought you would have.
Not a lick.
Listen, I knew you were real. I just knew it. Oh, joyous day. Oh, joyous day. I gotta show everyone. You all understand me, right? Oh, please tell me you do. Oh, who cares? I'll still bring you along.
As he spoke, the man frantically pulled Nalon and Xela to their feet and began dragging them by their arms away from the hidden cave.
Did this guy not hear our entire conversation? You might want to grab a stick to poke him. I can understand you just fine, buddy.
I think he's so stupid and in so much shock, apparently, that he can't comprehend the fact that human language is the most simple thing out there to understand. Humans are really an embarrassment to conscious and sentient life forms.
Suddenly, the man stops in his tracks, his grip tightened around the lizard's arms. They struggled and failed to get free. Xela got in front of the man to see his eyes had glazed over.
Do you need help? We can fix your brain.
Xela jumps as the man screeches. Nalon suddenly drops to his knees and screams in agony. Both men finally stop screaming, their yells replaced with quick breathing.
Yo, this guy hears the alarms too.
What? Huh? What alarm? I don't hear a thing. Sorry about that, y'all. It's just that some words, well, they make my head start blowing up, you know? So, the occasional ringing of the fire alarm and things like that.
Okay. Besides your shared weirdness with my buddy here, who on Gog's green earth are you, and where are you taking us?
So you can understand me then. That's great.
Nalon and Xela look in awe and confusion at the creature they are accompanying. Nalon and Xela slap their faces as Swindy looks at them with a triumphant smile.
The name's Swindy Kristen, professional truth seeker. I'm taking you all to my lair so that my disciples may joyously bask in proof of the answers we seek. Well, of course, I'm the monster, so I want to ask you to. Will you join me as paladins in my crusade for truth and knowledge? Will you join me in opening the eyes of the world around us? Well, I won't treat you like some gods or anything because too much patriotism is bad, right? But you all will stand tall as the motivation we need to save our world from sheepdom.
The two lizards listen intently. Their faces beam with bright smiles. Xela and Nalon suddenly find themselves remembering some of the words yelled by Luas.
In all my years of work, not one lizard has given me this much trouble. Yet somehow, the most uninteresting, idiotic, unoriginal, unappealing, no-name, run-of-the-mill, pathetic, powerless duo of lizards has been the most annoying ones yet.
Their expressions return to normal. They look down and begin to sulk. Swindy's smile drops into a somber expression.
Listen, man, we ain't all that. We just had the most traumatic moment of our entire lives. We were almost eaten by one guy, and that guy got killed by another guy. Then the other guy tried to kill us, but then the one guy's upper torso started sprung to life, and then he killed the other guy, and the other guy properly kills the one guy this time, but has visible chunks taken out of him, and then his arms ripped off, and then he tries to kill us, and then we unlocked superpowers and took advantage of his weakened state to kill him, and I took a life for the first time, and we're on the run, and I just want to go home and cry, man.
Xela's eyes water as he thinks back on the previous events. Swindy looks at them, distraught.
Listen, we may be some amazing thing to you, but back home, we are the most generic lizards out there. We're office workers who create propaganda and set up chemical dumps. We eat lunch in the company break room and we drown out our sorrows at the bar after work. We are the most boring, uninteresting lizards around.
Hey, that's cool to me. So what if you're bored? Your life is still different from us humans. Only evil corpos dump chemicals all the time in my world. Plus, I think it's cool you all have some similarities to us. Listen, I'm not leading some kind of revolution here. I'm leading a class and teaching students about the truth of this world. I mean, we'll even keep you hidden if that's what you want.
Swindy Kristen smiled at the lizard and turned walking towards a dense forest.
All right, fine, we'll go. There's no way the government would blow their cover in front of humans anyway, right? But then again, how are we gonna hide?
Check it. I've got the ability just for that.
Nalon's face scrunched up and his muscles tightened. He arched himself backward before throwing himself to the ground. His body twitched and writhed. Scales flipped around. Xela looked away, almost puking. He looked back to see another pasty man where Nalon stood. The man was tall, his arms a little skinny, his legs wide, his hair a dark shade of auburn. The outfit Nalon was wearing sagged on this man's body.
How do I look?
What was that?
I figured out how we were able to originally take over human society. We have the ability to disguise ourselves. But of course, that became lost knowledge when we were forced to stay underground. I know it looks gross and horrible and like total body horror. But trust me, it will feel weird. Don't think too much about the tail. Envision the ideal body and scrunch.
Xela closed his eyes and recreated what Nalon did. He dropped to the ground, writhing around. Nalon watched his friend morph. Xela's body twisted and turned at every part. Scales became skin, eyes rounded out, hair began to grow. Then suddenly,
I I told you to ignore the tail.
Oh my god, I can't believe that happened.
The human form of Xela had buried his face into the ground. He suddenly stood up. He was shorter than Nalon, his hair jet black, but slightly balding.
I'll teach you how to grow your hair out. You look a little older than you really are, man.
It's my first time, man, and it was slightly embarrassing.
Anyways, the only real downside to these forms is that we can't use our powers. The good news is that we're untraceable. Other bad news, we're still cold-blooded. But we emit the same energy aura as humans.
Aura? What aura? What is this? Some mystical, cringy kung fu series that's terrible?
Wait, you're a lizard person whose job is to make conspiracies, and you don't know aura?
That's what I'm saying. I'm just as disappointed as you, man. Either way, we will talk about it another day. Just know it's the soul and life force of a creature. It's unique, samey. I think we'll talk about it another day.
Okay.
Yeah, what he said. Wait, before we go any further, there's one more piece to this disguise.
Swindy threw his backpack to the ground and began rummaging through it. He smiled and stopped rummaging. He pulled out 2 hats made of tinfoil and sat them on the lizards' heads. He pulled out a roll of tinfoil and ripped some out, quickly crafting a new hat for himself.
You know, guys, you make so many of these, it becomes muscle memory. Eh, boys? Eh, boys?
Sure. Nalon, I thought these things were a myth.
Nalon and Xela took their hats off. Xela stared with confusion. Nalon beamed with joy as he looked over.
I can't believe it's real. I am holding an authentic human tinfoil hat.
Okay. He's freaking out. What is so special about these things?
Hold on. I'll field that one. These tinfoil hats, my young wizard friends, are the best defense from the mental warfare we fight against in our revolution to realize the truth. Our foes, whoever they are, wherever they are, use everything from electromagnetic waves to mind reading and mind control. In fact, MIT students even found out that these hats can actually block out radio waves of certain frequencies. Now, while there aren't many examples of these hats, some examples have been seen as far back as the 1920s. Now, I believe, of course, this is done to hide the truth about this shield and keep people unable to defend themselves.
You know, I don't think we've employed mind control since the 60s.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We realized long ago it was just easier to bribe and buy out loyalty just because it was too much energy to run these machines. I mean, our pollution was just as bad as America's. I remember seeing an old machine when I was on a field trip as a kid. It was towering, man. That's a big device. Absolutely breathtaking. I will say that, absolutely breathtaking. Lizard engineering truly is the best.
Okay, fine. But still, they're a symbol of our fight to protect freedom of mind and thought, yes?
If it helps, we do still use mind control powers occasionally. The main reason is that we haven't really had lizard people on the surface since the JFK rebellion.
Wait, what?
Swindy's eyes suddenly glazed over again.
I knew it!
Nalon and Xela covered their ears as Swindy screamed louder this time. Xela ran up and kicked Swindy to the ground, making him shut up.
Why is violence always your answer?
It's effective. It's like I always say, when negotiations fail, violence always prevails.
Xela helps up a dazed Swindy. The man shakes his head before refocusing.
Sorry, guys. Just brain on fire.
Swindy stretches his arm and throws his backpack back on.
Never mind. Come on. It's getting late. I'll show you more later.
The lizards followed Swindy through the forest. They randomly would stop as branches would assault them, and roots would trip them up. Eventually, Nalon and Xela burst out of the bush. A random human screamed as the 2 lizards in human disguises appeared out of nowhere. Swindy stood next to them as they looked at the scene in front of them. City streets and lights as far as the eye could see. Humans crowded the streets, some in groups, some alone. Some were dressed up, others were dressed down. It was a city empowered by different walks of life. Nalon's vision was filled with the various lights and neon of the city. Nalon looked up at the towering buildings. He was reminded of the sight of Rigor smashing through the buildings back in Scaleopolis. He stepped forward as if pulled by the allure of the bustling city. He felt an arm pull him back as a car sped past, almost striking Nalon.
Did you suddenly lose your common sense?
Maybe. I don't know, man. I love this place.
Listen, I'm sure it doesn't hold a candle to your home, but I hope it compares. Welcome to Golden Road City.